As a Gen Xer, you're reaching that age where it's time to plan for your financial future. You're also probably at that age where your school days are far behind you. But it's not too late to learn something new. Class is in session. This is the Gen X Wealth Academy podcast with Phil Telpner of Breakout Private Wealth.
Welcome to the Breakout Wealth podcast. And this, of course, is Ron Stutz along with Phil Telpner. And we're talking today, as always, to the Gen X folks out there, the Gen X Wealth Academy at Phil Telpner's Breakout Private Wealth. And Phil, first of all, how you doing, buddy? It's been a while.
I'm great, Ron. How are you? How was your Thanksgiving?
Oh, it was fantastic. I ate way too much turkey, but we had the whole family here and ate a lot of food, watched some football,
There you go.
And drank too much, to be honest with you. So.
Yeah, that can happen. That's a thing. That's all right though. I'll give you a pass.
Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday, man. You don't have to do anything but just relax and enjoy good food, be with the people you love, and that's it. That's pretty much it.
That's pretty awesome.
Yep. Hey, listen, if you'd like to get in touch with Phil Telpner and have a conversation about getting to and through retirement or whatever you want to talk about having to do with your money, you can go to breakoutprivatewealth.com, and there's a place there where you can set an appointment. You can arrange to have a conversation with Phil Telpner. It's not going to cost you anything, not going to carry with it any kind of obligation. Again, that is breakoutprivatewealth.com. Again, this is the Gen X Wealth Academy, and, there are people out there, particularly during this day and time where, we're going through some tough economic times. A lot of people out there, when you talk to them about retiring or ever being able to retire, they will say, it's going to take a miracle. Have you heard that? And what do you think of that sentiment?
I hear a lot, quite honestly, as we specialize in helping our Gen X clients, pre-retirees, get to that place where they're confident that work can actually become optional. There was an interesting article that was actually posted by CNBC, which very rarely has anything valuable to say. We used to call it CNBS, but
I got you.
Just send Ron all your complaints if you're out there and got something to complain about.
Yeah,
anyway,
it's all my fault, folks.
Yeah. Anyway, they did make some excellent points, so we'll give them credit for that. In this article, they said that there's more millionaires than ever before, but fewer of these people feel confident about their finances.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's pretty eye-opening right there. 58% of these people said they'll have to work longer, and 36% worry that retirement isn't even an option.
Wow.
Right? They said that 35% of millionaires reported that, to your point, that a financially secure retirement is going to take a miracle.
Wow. That's amazing. How is it that people who have millions of dollars feel that way, that they can't be secure about having a work optional lifestyle?
Well, it's a few things. I guess big picture, money is emotional. We all bring money stories from our childhood, most of us. And so that can be anxiety producing on its own. I have clients that have more money, they could never spend it all, that won't spend any of it. It's a psychological kind of phenomenon that can be worked on and therefore improved on. But, there's just some people that have a harder time than that. I think that a lot of it is preparation. I think that somewhere along the line, and I see this every day with prospective clients and clients that are relatively new to the practice. After they've been with us for a while, it gets much better. But we're just not prepared. Like savings rate, how much liquidity people have, making improvements to all that stuff, the things that you can control. Somewhere along the line, investing probably as a result of media, probably as a result of Wall Street marketing for transactions and all sorts of kind of not great stuff. People thought that investing will get them rich or investing will get them poor. They're scared because to invest, I have people like that, right? They don't, no matter how you try to explain it, it's scary to them. Mm-hmm. And then you have people that think that if they give you X amount of money, that you're going to return them 25% a year or something just insane like that.
Yeah.
So very, very few people understand or have been coached, I guess, to understand the long-term wealth building effect of participating properly in the capital markets, right? It's an interesting phenomenon. And one last thing too, I'll add on top of all this, for my specialty, there's no pensions or very few pensions.
Yeah.
So there's no safety net. And that probably goes to why people wake up at 55 years old and are like, how am I going to do this? How's this going to work? Right. And those are the people that we work with, quite honestly, right? Because there is nobody's coming to save you. Once people can understand that, I think that brings out a lot of anxiety. So interested. Go ahead. Yeah.
I'd like to offer an opinion here. The fact that, even though some folks have a lot of money accumulated and have done a good job saving over the years, they have no confidence about, and they're not feeling secure about the amount of money they have for their retirement, let's say, because there's so much negativity out there. There's so much negative talk. It's always naysayers that you hear about, bad news all the time. And the thing is that we have talked hundreds of times on this show already that if you have a plan, you can anticipate those things and you can take care of some of those problems that people are experiencing.
I think that's very well said. In fact, I read a little newsletter on LinkedIn, and part of it this time was something like plan on the plan not going according to plan, mm-hmm. and that's okay. So there needs to be a built-in, I think Warren Buffett or Ben Graham called it a margin of safety, right? So there needs to be a built-in cushion for what happens when things don't go according to plan, which, oh, by the way, they won't. Because, it implies that we know the future, and we don't. I mean, we may have some ideas. We can do our best kind of modeling and all that, but it's going to be wrong. It always is. So we need to create this margin of safety around this plan where when you have a market like this year, it doesn't throw your plan off. We've accounted for it, right? We knew that this type of market could happen. When it was going to happen, who knows? But we knew that this was possible. And the planning part of it was that because we knew it was possible, we were able to have cash cushions in place and different things in place to be prepared if and when it does happen, I guess. And that goes to your point, too, about the news and negativity. And I think the best thing that people can do is not watch the news. The markets are ahead. First of all, there's a couple things people need to know. The economy is not the stock market, okay? Mm-hmm. And the markets are forward thinking. So they're already looking out 6 months ahead in the future. Like we just had some little better inflation numbers and some of that. Well, the Treasury bonds, long-term interest rates had already been moving long before those numbers came out, right? The market knows before everybody else does. To make investment decisions based on news is a recipe for disaster. And I think that there's just so much of it. And ease of, I'm all for transparency, capital markets, but the ease of just putting some money in an account and having at it, I think has really hurt people to see Bitcoin and meme stocks and Facebook down 70% and all this other stuff. So
Yeah.
obviously I'm biased here, but I just wish that people would work with a professional earlier than 6 months before they want to retire. I just think that the longer you have a relationship with somebody that you trust, so many of these things that we just discussed go away.
You know, the Gen X Wealth Academy is a private community where we will share strategies and answer the questions on the minds of successful Gen X families out there, free from any kind of sales focus. And, of course, Phil Telpner is talking to you. And, Phil, I'm going to give out that website address and also your phone number coming up in just a moment here. But for the folks who are listening today, I think you made a really good point just a moment ago when you were talking about the media. People paying attention to the media every day. You hear so much negative stuff. I mean, you hear basically only the bad news. Don't hear a whole lot of good news. And, you know, years ago, things weren't reported to that extent. These days, you can get this stuff 24 hours a day with a number of sources out there, just infinite ways you can hear all this stuff, and it will drive you crazy unless you have a plan and you can tune this stuff out, knowing that you're prepared.
Yeah, that's a great point. What happens is all that negativity creates inertia or doubt or whatever you want to call it. And totally understandable, but a month turns into a year, turns into 3 years, 5 years, and nothing gets done. You're not improving your net worth. You're not improving your savings rate. You're not improving your liquidity. You're not adding to taxable investment accounts. Nothing changes. And every year that goes by, it makes it harder and harder to achieve the outcomes that you and your family want. And last thought on all this, because I know people someone's has this thought. Higher net worth people, and I'm going to generalize here, but it's based on my experience. Higher net worth people have higher complexity. So their situations can get really complex. So when you look at somebody and say, oh, they've got nothing to worry about, that is not true. There's usually a lot of moving pieces in these people's lives. There's a lot of people that are more dependent on them. And so wherever you fall on that net worth scale, I don't think anybody really has it easy. Everybody has gaps to fill, so to speak. And that's exactly how we help people.
Well, if you would like to schedule a conversation with Phil Telpner, maybe a 15-minute conversation to start, to get some answers to some basic questions and that sort of thing, and then you can move on from there, you can go. The easiest way to do this is go to breakoutprivatewealth.com. That is breakoutprivatewealth.com. Let me give you the phone number as well. If you'd like to call, 224-616-2016. That is 224-616-2016. If you're saying it's going to take a miracle for me to retire or to achieve any kind of a work optional lifestyle, well, then call Phil Telpner. He can perhaps help you change that. But you have to reach out with a phone call or go to the website, breakoutprivatewealth.com. There's a place there where you can schedule a get-together with Phil. It's not going to cost you anything and not going to obligate you to do anything at all. This is the Gen X Wealth Academy. Breakout Private Wealth, Phil Telpner. And we appreciate your listening today.
Breakout Private Wealth, LLC, is a registered investment advisor located in Glenview, Illinois. Today's content is for informational purposes only and does not constitute tax, investment, or legal advice. Please consult with a qualified professional before taking any action.